Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk. In this episode, we're here at our Istanbul office with Nezir Can. Nez abi,
Yes,
welcome
mate.
to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's been such a long time since we have filmed our last episode with you. And the audience loves you. I don't know why. Maybe you're a genuine guy. Maybe they can relate to you. But I'm kidding. I know why they love you. We love you for the same reason. Nez abi, tell us a little bit about how have you been and, you know, what's been up with you and with the business in general.
Okay, well, since our last video, the wheel has been discovered.
What?
The wheel. It has been discovered. Fire has been discovered since our last video.
Okay.
Argentina's won the World Cup, so it's great to be back.
Are you trying to say that it's been such a long time?
Well, it's been a few years, yeah. It has.
No, not a few
kidding,
years.
mate. It's been
I think year or so. Yeah.
probably about a year.
Yeah.
I'm only picking on you, mate.
Well, Nez abi, here's what I realized. People who come to this office, people who say hi to us and they move to Turkey or they shop with us, they say that there's a few patterns that I sort of identified that form the reasons of why foreigners move to Turkey. One of the reasons is that, I mean, I'm generally talking about foreigners who are living in the Western countries. And these people generally tend to have an Eastern background, either a Middle Eastern background or a South Asian background or a Muslim background. They say that it's very hard to integrate to those types of societies, to the first world societies.
I can understand that.
Yeah. And
even if you're born there, it's really difficult. Yeah.
For this very specific subject, you experienced how it is to be a foreigner in a Western country, and you experienced to be a foreigner in Turkey as well, although you're Turkish, because when you first came in here, you know, you didn't speak much of a Turkish, right? So how was your experience, and is this a valid point, not being able to integrate because of your name, your color, your creed, or whatever? Or is it these countries are just welcoming and these guys are just, you know, making a big deal out of it?
Well, I mean, it's really funny. When I was growing up in Australia, I didn't know what my name meant, where it came from, why I was called this. I've got it. Like, let me start with that one first and foremost, right? It was really weird until the Pakistan cricket team turned up to Australia. I'm serious. Then there was a bloke called Mudassar Nazar. Okay. I thought, hang on, this guy's like me. His name is similar to mine.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm not kidding.
Nazar.
Mudassar Nazar. Like, it was.
Is it the same name? No.
Well, they call it Nazar. It's actually Nezir in Turkish. Nazar in there, or Nezir.
Yeah.
This sort of thing. But it was really funny. It was very difficult. Nobody could pronounce my name in Australia. That's why everybody started calling me Nez, because nobody could say my name. So I didn't know what I was there. To be honest, I was an alien. Yeah. I was born and brought up there. I studied there. I went to school there all my life and everything, but I was an alien. It's not easy, man. It's really, really difficult.
Look, obviously, you schooled there, right? I mean,
all my schooling life.
Most of your friends are Aussies. Yeah. And you could get mixed in. But was there ever a time when you felt like, oh man, I'm a true blue? You know, I really feel like I'm 100% true blue Australian. I'm accepted like this in the society, and I feel like this, and I don't see myself as somebody who has roots outside of this country.
Yes, there was. I've got to be honest. Of course there was. Quite a bit. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. Australia's quite fortunate on that side of things, because it's not as bad as Europe. I've got to be honest. It's not. People, you see, the thing is, right, the genuine, proper Australians are the Aboriginals. Let's be honest. I mean, they're the ones that own that land. The rest are all from somewhere else. So it's a lot more easier than Europe, because when I went to England, for example, mate, no matter how hard you try, it's very difficult. Well, you're a foreigner. No matter what happens, you're a foreigner. I mean, we've got a young bloke in the office now.
Yeah.
And originally from parents or grandparents from Pakistan. And the kid was born and brought up in England, does not speak a word of Urdu.
Yeah.
Yet he's still not English. He's still not British. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Australia wasn't that difficult. Wasn't like that. Well, it was a lot easier. As I said, there was a lot of Europeans there, a lot of Asians there. So But still,
Yeah.
you're an outsider. You know what I mean? You're an outsider. It's as simple as that.
In Turkey, let's say you're of Pakistani origin, or you're of I don't know, Egyptian or a European. Doesn't matter. How easy or hard it is when you compare it to the Western countries to integrate into the Turkish society? Is it a harder society to integrate in?
It was a lot more difficult when I first came. We're talking 1993, 92, 93, 30 years ago. Nobody spoke English. There was no Google. There was no Google Translate. There was nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody spoke English, especially up north or, further out from here, a place called Sakarya. That's where we came straight into, and it was a lot more difficult to integrate. But nowadays it's a lot easier. A lot of people speak English. Obviously, even if you don't speak English, then you've got your smartphone everywhere. Right. So it's easier to translate. It's easier to communicate with people.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad. It's not as difficult as it used to be. The beauty of this country is the Turkish people are very accepting of you. They take you at face value. They do not judge.
Yeah.
Unless you go out of your way to mischief, to do something wrong.
Right.
And obviously, no matter where you go, people will turn against you. But if you're here just to survive, just to live in this country, then it's easy to adapt. It's easy to accept.
I mean, look, I think one of the reasons why Turkish society is very open and welcoming towards foreigners is because this place used to be an empire, right? The Ottoman Empire. It was a very multicultural society. You can say it that had, different cultures, different ethnicities, different colors, people coming from all over the borders of the empire. And the Ottoman Empire lasted about 7 centuries. And prior to the Ottomans, the Roman Empire was here. And the Roman Empire occupied these lands for more than 15 centuries. So you're talking about 2,000 years of empire geography. That's where it is. So it's in the subconscious of the people of accepting others from other countries. That, however, doesn't mean that we do not have certain, I'm not going to say aggression, but certain issues with especially refugees and
but that's a completely different story,
immigrants and people who are coming here. So we have to make a distinction here, right?
I mean, look, refugees are coming out from a war-torn country, though. That's a completely different ball game.
Right.
We're talking about people who actually want to come and invest here.
Right.
Personally, I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry I cut you off, but refugees are a completely different ball game.
Nezabi, another pattern that I see from people who migrate to Turkey, people who move to Turkey to invest in here, is they talk a lot about safety.
Very important topic.
Right.
Very important.
On the very face value, right? Places such as the US or some of the European countries, they look safe, and they are safe indeed. However, when you compare Turkey, and especially when you're, if you're a family man, how does that compare? Because you lived in these places, and do you think this claim or this point is valid?
It is to a certain extent. Personally, once again, I was born and brought up in Australia, lived in England. No disrespect to both these countries. They're both beautiful countries, both very safe countries. But for some peculiar reason, some reason that I can't really explain, I feel safer in Turkey. I really don't know why. As you know, we have 2 daughters. One's 26 now and one's 21. And I've never been worried when they've been out. Mm-hmm. I've never been worried. I mean, like, you try walking through a park at midnight in one of the Western countries, and you got to watch your back. You seriously got to watch your back. While in Turkey, it's pretty safe to do. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. I don't know if that's a valid point like that. I don't know if that's, but it is the way I feel. And now that they're grown and everything, I'm really comfy. I'm not watching I'm not watching over my shoulder. I'm not panicking when my phone rings. Right. Being a parent, because it is on the back of your mind all the time where they are and what they're doing and so on. So we hear of stories in these countries. I haven't been to them for a while, so I don't really know what it's like. But when I was there, especially after dark, it is scary to walk out for anybody, especially in some regions, especially in some parts, just like anywhere else around the world.
A lot of people are calling us and they're saying, and I'm surprised, right? You would think that, oh, this is US, it's got to be the safest country on earth and this, that. And the guy is telling me, Alaattin, I have 4 kids, they're going to school, and I am terrified as a parent. I am terrified. I'm thinking at the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, oh, you know, something's going to happen to them and stuff like that. So, and I hear this on a repeated basis.
Unfortunately.
You know? So there's the fabric of those societies are changing, and it's pushing a lot of people away to countries like Turkey. Therefore, I wanted to refer to your experience of being a family man and having children and schooling those children here in Turkey. How was that experience? Were there ever worries, or obviously there would be, but your daughter studied in other cities as well.
Yes.
And how was that experience as a family man growing up a family?
Happy and lucky. We were happy. We were lucky. I mean, we were in Fethiye for 20 years down south. So I mean, Fethiye is a tiny town of about 180,000 people living in there. So it wasn't that vast. It wasn't that big. So it was pretty safe there. It was easy. Living there, and then the oldest daughter went to university in another city called Muğla, and she was brilliant there. I mean, we used to go and visit every now and then, and there's a Turkish saying, you don't buy a house, you buy neighbors.
Right.
So, you know, their neighbors were great, and they were looking out for her. You know, they look out for one another. Look, if you're behaving yourself, if you're doing the right thing, if you're just worrying about your own stuff, this country is amazing.
Right. I think one of the fundamental differences between these two cultures, let's say if I am to generalize, one is a bit more individualistic. The other one is a collectivist culture that values, you know, the community culture, the family, and etc. And I left my parental home when I was, I think, 18 years old, when I went for my studies for my university. My parents used to come and visit me, but they wouldn't visit only me. They would also visit the neighbors.
Exactly.
They would say, how's the boy doing?
Yeah.
He's all good.
Is he behaving himself?
Yeah. Is he behaving himself and stuff like that?
Clip him around there if he misbehaves.
Yeah. And we had all the aunties and uncles around, and they would always take care of us as a guys, youngsters. They would call us, do you need anything? You know, are you guys okay? Because, you know, sometimes your parents are not there, and you young people. So these people do really take care of you, and that's the beauty of the culture. I don't know if that still remains.
It does.
Yeah.
It still does.
Yeah.
It still does. It's the beauty of it.
Right. And I'll tell you something. And I don't want this very particular topic to turn into a controversy. I hate controversial stuff.
We don't need it. There's no controversy. We're just talking about experience, though.
Right. But this is straight talk, and I got to talk about these things.
Okay, fair enough.
What we are saying here are the exact concerns that we hear from clients who move to Turkey. And one of the concerns that we hear is the education system. The education system in the West is changing, and there's a lot of, let's say, marginal ideas that are being introduced into the education system, such as the children growing up being genderless, or you can identify as whomever you want to be, as you're a little boy, but hey, I want to identify as a girl and everything. And this all the LGBT stuff, right? I got nothing against it. 100% got nothing against it.
Allah, that's thin ice, bro.
What?
That's thin ice.
That's
We're
thin
walking
ice,
on
but,
thin ice.
but give it a crack. I mean, look, the very people who are watching us right now are terrified. And if I'm not talking about, maybe
terrified.
not the majority.
Are you kidding? I'm terrified.
Right, maybe not the majority, but I know people who are watching us right now, they are concerned about this for their children, and they want to move to countries like Turkey where things are a bit
stable.
Normal. You know?
No, I agree. I'm terrified. I mean, it worries me. And to be honest, I don't understand it.
Right.
I don't know what the aim is, what the purpose is, what they're trying to. I mean, little kids, 3, 4, 5-year-olds,
right,
calling them genderless. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's none of my business. I mean, it's thin ice, as we said, but I agree 100%. It's a worry.
It's a worry big time. Yeah.
It worries me.
I don't know, man. It's not what it used to be. You know, the US, the Western culture back in the 80s, 70s, it was something that we looked up to, right? But now it's like, I'm like, all right, guys, you got too much money. Okay, you just got too much money. You don't know what to do with it.
You got too much money. You got too much comfort.
Yeah.
So they want to cause problems. They're looking for problems.
Yeah, and also for like, you know, everything you say is racist nowadays.
Oh yeah,
anything and everything you say
absolutely.
is racist. And I'm like, I like cracking some jokes, and I don't care if the joke would end up being a racist joke. I know my guy. You know, it's my friends. We're friends. We're sitting down. We're cracking jokes. I mean, who cares if it's, you know, because racism is not a issue in Turkey, right? It's not a headline in Turkey that people make.
Not at all, mate. Not one.
Yeah.
Not at all. None whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really sad where it's going over there. I mean, you know, you drink water, you can be racist. You know, you say hello, that's racist.
Yeah.
The way you say hello can be racist. That is proper scary. I mean, that's also another sad, really sad thing about the Western world, because once again, they've got it too easy, mate. They
got it too easy. That's what you're talking about.
They're just out there looking for
issues
and problems, and they want to create them. And I don't know. I mean,
but, you know, the world is going crazy, Nezir. Seriously,
it is going crazy. So it's been. Look, once again, I don't know what it would have been like in Australia if we were in Australia, if we did bring our children up in Australia. I do know what it's like here, and I'm really happy.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. For me personally, I do know what it's like bringing up children in Turkey, and I'm happy. I'm grateful. I believe we've done well as parents. So I'm not complaining. I mean, if anybody wants to give it a go or wants to move out permanently, then would I recommend it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of doubt. Absolutely. Give it a go, mate. I mean, you can't go wrong, especially Istanbul's a massive city, you know, population of official 16 million, but unofficial 20, 25 million, whatever. Yeah. So Istanbul, it is a lot more difficult. It is like any other big city. You do have to be careful. You do have to watch out. You do have to take care, be cautious. Nonetheless, compared to other big cities, I find this place to be 10 times, 100 times better set up. The system, the way it's set up, public transport, security, so many undercover police officers. So it does feel a lot safer. But if you're going to live in smaller towns like Bodrum, Fethiye, Antalya, Kaş, Kalkan, then mate, your only worries are the cats and dogs, you know, running around during the winter. That's your only worry out there. I mean,
sure. And I think the beauty is Turkey is a predominantly Muslim country, right? So if you're a Muslim in Turkey, you can very much practice your religion because it's a Muslim country. You can go to mosque and nobody will be shaming you because you're praying, or nobody will be looking at you weird when you're fasting and stuff like that. Right?
And when you're not fasting.
Yeah, and when you're not fasting. And the beauty is that it is so Western enough that if, for example, you're not fasting in Ramadan, nobody comes and knocks on your door, why you're not fasting? So it's not like you don't have those Islamic rules that are dictating the social life, but if you are following that type of a lifestyle, which a significant portion of the population do follow, you're fine too. Yeah,
exactly. Well, spot on. I mean, I'm not a preacher. I can't preach on Islam. I'm not that well, but from what I know, it's a free religion. You do what you want to do. It's between you and your God, whatever it is that you believe in. So, and that's the beauty of this country. They leave you alone. Yeah, you do whatever you want. You want to go to mosque 5 times a day? Yeah, be my guest. You want to go to a church? Yeah. Plenty of churches around. You want to go to wherever you want to go. I mean, synagogue. Yeah, it's over there. It's just down the road from here. Right. So. Yeah, you do have freedom of everything in this country. I mean, look, you started up this video by talking about the Ottoman, and that was the beauty of the Ottomans. They did not care what religion you were, what color you were, what race you were. They just left you alone. The only thing that they wanted from you was to be a good citizen,
and pay taxes,
and pay taxes, exactly. Right. And it's still
so long as you pay taxes. I mean, they don't care what your religion is.
No, they don't. Yeah. They don't. They didn't care as long as you're a good law-abiding citizen. Right. Then they couldn't care less.
They left people alone, as you said,
which is the current mentality in Turkey. You do what you want. You want to, I mean, you want to be a good Muslim? Yeah. Knock yourself out. Go for it. You want to be a good Christian? Yeah. Enjoy yourself. You want to be an atheist? You want to be a deist?
You don't have to worry about explaining yourself.
No,
Look, here's the thing. I lived in France. And I know how it is to explain myself. Because think about it. Me, my name is Alaattin. I'm from Turkey, and I have a Muslim background. Any new environment that I go into, that there are people, I need to explain myself. Hey, you know what? I'm Turkish, I'm Muslim, but I'm not like those ones that you see on TV. You know, I'm a very open-minded Muslim, and I'm a very open-minded Turkish person. And this is very sad.
How sad is
this is very sad, and it's very tiring as well.
Yeah.
Because when the moment you meet somebody and say, "What's your name?" "My name is Alaattin." I said, "Oh, okay, okay." No, they're not gonna react to it. But at the back of their mind, they're always like, you know, you think that they have preconceptions about you. You think that they are thinking certain things about you and everything. But so you feel you need to explain certain things. You need to, hi, dear French citizens, you know, you guys are modern. I'm modern too. You know, I respect your constitution. Oh, you know, I'm not like those crazy guys who's going to bomb the churches and mosques. And, you know, so you take that time of explaining yourself, and have to explain yourself is very, very sad. And in Turkey, I came to realize that if you have a Muslim background and if you're from, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't need to explain anything. Once again, if you're a law-abiding citizen, and you'll be left alone. I guarantee you, you will be left alone.
Right.
And which is what you want, which is what everybody wants.
Right.
You know, I mean, you don't have to be a Muslim in this country. You can be whatever you want, whoever you want.
Let me ask you something, Nezir.
Please.
These cities, man, especially in the Western culture, they shut down.
Yeah.
They shut down early.
Yeah.
And
4, 5, 6 p.m., depending on what time of the year it is.
And it's a bit like, you know, there's this funny story by Cameron. So Cameron goes to LA, Los Angeles. Him and his friend, they're sitting at a cafe and they're drinking coffee, and it's 4 p.m.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, they kick him out. We shut shop, we're closing, you know, kick him out. I said, like, what, 4 p.m. you close? You know, say, no, we close about 5 p.m. I said, 5 p.m., but you kick people out. So Cameron hates that. He comes in here claiming that, oh, you know, the West has become very robotic, this, that, and everything, this culture, everything. So what do you see?
He's actually had a wake-up call, hasn't he? I mean, he didn't believe us until he went there and he saw it himself.
Yeah.
I tried telling him. Yeah, that is so true. People pack up. People, look, I mean, by 6 p.m., everyone's at home in front of the television, eating their supper, and in bed by 8, 9.
6 p.m., the entire country shuts down.
In Turkey, it never shuts down. Istanbul never dies.
Istanbul
never stops.
24/7. Every single street in Istanbul is lively. Nothing is ever shut down in Istanbul.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, restaurants, you know, they shut for a few hours.
Forget the restaurants. A corner pizza shop, you know, a pizza oven, it's still open 24/7. And you're like, oh, okay. You know, it never dies. No. And this is not just in Turkey. I guess this is a Middle Eastern thing.
It is.
I figured out. In some other Middle Eastern, when you go to Lebanon and Egypt and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, apparently the Lebanon's. There was a comedian, Russell Peters, and he'd say,
I know.
Yeah, he'd say the Lebanese party like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there is a serious nightlife here in Istanbul. I mean, don't get us wrong. It's not like it's not that innocent of a city. There's all sorts of crazy.
Look, if you're looking for it, you'll find it. Trust me.
Of course.
You'll find it.
Of course.
Or it'll find you.
Yeah. And the nightlife goes on, but the nightlife goes on for the holy and the unholy, you know. So it's just never dies. If you want to have kebabs at 3 a.m., so go have kebabs at 3 a.m. If you want to go to a club and, you know, get drunk and get wasted at 3 a.m., go and do that. You know, so the city never dies.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Okay, talk to me about. So your wife is Turkish.
She is.
And you've been married for how long?
29.
Okay,
years.
29 years.
We've been together for 30, married for 29.
Talk to me about having a Western wife versus a Turkish wife.
How do you mean by, well, she's Turkish, but I mean, she was brought up in the West way. I mean,
I'm talking about. See, let's say if you were to have a Western wife.
Well, I've never had a Western wife, so I can't answer that question, dude.
But you must have some, you know.
I dated, you mean?
Friends and family members, this, that, and everything. So, well, what I'm trying to get at is that, you know,
you're going to get me in trouble. You're going to get me in trouble.
I'm trying to get you in trouble. I'm trying to say, I want you to be say, the Turkish women, they're obedient. They know the family values, this, that, and everything. And the Western women are like this.
I'm not saying that. There's no way am I saying that, because I'm not Andrew Tate and I ain't getting myself in trouble. My wife will be probably watching.
Yeah.
So no, mate, no, I'm not.
No, but seriously, but let me ask you this. You've been you've been married to a Turkish woman who has the values of this very particular land and everything. Obviously, the family values that you have and how much family is valued in this society must have been different, right?
Yes, definitely. Well, it was something. Maybe it was something that I was craving. Like I'm a proper homeboy. Once we pack up, once we finish everything, I go straight home to my wife and daughters. They're currently at home. Obviously, one of them's getting married at the end of the year, so she's going out. But so for me, it was a blessing.
You are respected if you're a good family man, no?
Well, it does make life a lot easier, doesn't it? I mean, It's not just about respect. It's also, it does make life a lot easier. That people see you as a lot more stable, somebody, responsible. I mean, that was one of the main reasons why Cameron wanted me here, me to run this, help him run this joint 10 years ago, because he saw me as a very stable man, as a family man. And he said, this guy can be trusted. The wife has played a great deal of part in that. She has helped a lot.
Right. This is one last thing that we're going to talk about. But one of the things that people say is the divorce rates in the West is going crazy.
Yeah.
People are not getting married.
Well, they're not getting married.
They're not getting married. And the ones they get married, they get divorced. The institution of family, the institution of marriage is in a limbo there in those. But in Turkey, as a married man of almost 30 years now, and you have people around you, people like myself, and there are so many other people.
You've done well as well, though. You've done really well as well.
Thank you. I've been married for 6 now, going into the 7th year.
Not easy.
It's not. No.
These days, trust me, it was a lot easier when we got married.
Right. But when you look at the very fabric of the Turkish society, would you say that the institution of marriage is still valued by the society?
It's still, compared to the rest of the world, still very much valued. The family life and the marriage, what would you call it? Married life is still very much valued, but it is declining a little bit as well in this country, unfortunately.
So is that a good or a bad thing?
Well, I'm 52 years old, so I don't really care. I think it's a bad thing. I hope my daughters have a good married life, but I do worry for them.
Here's what I've noticed with people who have children. They want their kids to have a good family life. They don't care too much about anybody else, but for their they need to have a good family.
Well, it's your child, isn't it? It's your baby. I mean, no matter how old they are, still a baby. You worry about them. They're always on the back of your mind.
Right.
You're always thinking about them. You're always planning according to them, according to their lifestyle. I mean, if I didn't have any children, I'd probably pack up and go, I don't know, I'd be elsewhere. Yeah. But because they like Istanbul and the oldest is working here, she's got a great job. Her fiance is in Istanbul. The youngest is going to university just outside of Istanbul, so they want to stay. So I'm here. Right. If it wasn't for them, then I might be down south in Fethiye, in Bodrum. Do you know what I mean?
Never know. Yeah.
No, you never know. So the wife wants to be close to them. That's a typical Turkish thing, though. That's the thing about it. They want to be as close to the children as possible.
Right.
If possible, get them to live next door.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They live upstairs.
Or even in the same house. And I'm like, what are you doing? Kick them out. We need them out.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, we love them to bits, but not that close.
Yeah.
Come on. So, it's a great thing. It really is a great thing. I'm very fortunate. I mean, I believe Allah loves me a lot. Allah's been good to me.
Yeah,
I've had a great life. Obviously we've had our ups and downs, but all in all, when you put it on some scales, then it's always more up than downs.
We love you too, Nazabi. Well, thank you very much for the genuine conversation about anything and everything that we can talk about. It's been a good catch up.
It has been a good catch up. It's good to be back.
Yeah, I know that the audience have missed you, and let's.
And I've missed them.
Yeah, what?
And I've missed the audience. I've missed our friends out there.
What does that mean?
The audience is not there. Yeah. Come on, people come and say hello. Look, I sit over there, right? That's like a
yeah, I know.
That's like a bloody cage there. Like I'm caged in. And I'm going to put up a sign saying "Do not feed the monkeys in there," so they don't throw any nuts in there.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get people to say, "Oh, hello, I know you," sort of thing. It makes you feel happy.
Right.
Come on, I'm an old man. We go a bit soft and mushy with our age.
Yeah.
You'll understand when you get there.
Hopefully, very soon.
Very soon. No, you still got 22 years, bro.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Nezir,
All right.
thank you very much for
you very
spending
much.
your time. And guys, thanks a lot for watching the video, and hope to see you in the next one. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And also, if you have any questions or if you want to ask Nezir a question, please comment them down below. And see you in the next one.
Ask me.